Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to The Voice of the Times. It's Saturday, December 12, 2020. For today's editorial, the NLEX mess reveals deeper problems. As everyone by now knows, the City of Valenzuela recently took the extraordinary step of suspending the local business permit of the North Luzon Expressway Corporation, or NLEX, operator of the toll highway of the same name, prohibiting the company from collecting tolls after its faulty radio frequency identification or RFID cashless toll collection system caused massive traffic jams at the 6 toll plazas within the city. Likewise, the neighboring city of Caloocan has warned NLEX Corp it might consider taking the same action if the similar problems at the several interchanges within that city's jurisdiction were not quickly corrected. Ironically, the chaos might be beneficial in a way, as it has revealed a number of much deeper issues that may not have otherwise been recognized for the barriers to development that they really are. The first was in the way the mandatory adoption of the cashless RFID system was implemented. In August, the Department of Transportation, or DOTR, issued the order, ostensibly as a measure to help prevent the spread of the coronavirus, and set a deadline for November. That the DOTR did not conduct any consultations with any stakeholders was apparent in the complete surprise the order came to the toll road operators, local government officials, and the motoring public. The fact that the rules and procedures for implementation were immediately found to be virtually unworkable, and that the DOTR had to postpone its deadline to December 1. The sudden change in rules represented a significant change in the parameters for how the toll road operators do their business, parameters that are established in their concession contracts. Whether or not the change amounted to any violation of those contracts' terms would be something the courts would have to decide, but it was unnecessary for the question to even arise. The DOTR clearly did not adequately study or consult with those who would be affected by its proposal, and that lack of rigor should not be allowed, as other, simpler measures would have adequately minimized the contagion risk from cash toll transactions. Using the pandemic as justification for making such a big, sudden change was unreasonable, if not cynical on the DOTR's part. The second issue was raised by Palace spokesman Harry Roca Jr. on Thursday, when he scolded the local government units for their drastic action because it might discourage future investors. Many scoffed at that notion, but like it or not, Roque had a point. Problems at the local level, whether they involve permits and licenses or shifting local laws and regulations, have bedeviled investors for years. To an outside investor looking in, the situation in Valenzuela would appear to be one in which another investor operating under a national-level public-private partnership concession followed a regulatory mandate from the relevant national-level agency, in this case the DOTR, and then was undone by a local government marching to the beat of its own drum. At best, it demonstrates a lack of coordination throughout the levels of the government structure an investor must engage with, and that must be considered a serious risk by any prospective investor. It is, after all, one of the main reasons why the Philippines has about 1/10 of the number of cellular communications towers that it should have. In the wake of the controversy in Valenzuela, the Toll Regulatory Board has offered a number of recommendations to correct the issues with the RFID system. The NLEX Corp has assured the public that it was working to make improvements, and Congress naturally has vowed to probe the matter. So far, however, legislative interest in the controversy seems only directed towards what are essentially simple technical difficulties, rather than the framework that caused those difficulties to arise. We would urge Congress to aim higher than it usually does in inquiries of this nature, and examine the larger issues of regulatory boundaries and processes, rather than focusing on small details such as how much load motorists are required to buy for their RFID tags, or whether or not RFID equipment and lane markings are placed properly at toll plazas. Taking the narrower view will only guarantee that another controversy of this sort will arise in the future. And that's the editorial for Saturday, December 12, 2020. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print. Subscribe to our digital edition or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And listen to The Voice of the Times.